The doc is back in his home office, which means another edition of the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. I'm Sean Robertson. Great to have you with us on the many social media platforms for Virginia Union Athletics. We're not going to waste any time talking about what took place last week at Lincoln. Virginia Union, second time this year, scoring at least 60 points in a 63-12 win over the Lions. The winning streak is now at 5 in a row. Joining us, as always, is the head coach, Dr. Alvin Parker. Man, it just seems like the beats just keep on rolling. You go on the road and you take care of business again against an opponent that, we thought on paper was supposed to be a victory, and you sure played the part on Saturday.
Yeah, you're right about it, Sean. I thought, the guys did an excellent job. It just was a good trip. Like I thought, everything kind of fell in place and everything kind of went right. And the guys, got on the bus with a certain focus and they stayed with it, and I think those guys did a good job of having fun too. Sometimes we forget that they're college students, and you want them to be so serious all the time and locked in. They got to have fun some of the time, and I think them guys did all of that, and they went out there and played a pretty daggone good game.
You always talk about that with the road trips. It gives you that bonding time, even though you have it during the year, but for at least one day for travel, you guys it's just you guys going on a bus, making the trip, getting to become closer with one another before the game.
Yeah, you're somewhere different. You're in a different environment, so it's easy to rally around one another because like I said, you go with familiarity, and you look around and kind of see your guys, and you're in a different place. So I think it was a place some of them guys that are new to our team have never been. So the older guys kind of that's been there before kind of told those guys the ropes about the place and that type of stuff like that. But like I said, it just was a good trip. And like I said, you look around and just see everything kind of going like it's supposed to go, and the flow of everything, and those guys just locked in. But like I say, locked in while having fun.
I mentioned they won 5 in a row. It was actually 4 in a row. I gave them an extra victory. I think I'm looking ahead to Saturday's game against Bowie. They actually are 5-2. They 4-0 in the CIAA, so they got their 4 straight wins. It felt like a 5th straight win based on how you guys jumped out on Lincoln, 35-0 at the break, and Mark Wright again. We've seen like it's been a broken record, but every start he's had, he's been effective. He threw 4 touchdowns in the first half before RJ took over, 2 to Vic. And also 2 more to, was it Keys?
Yep.
It just seemed like the offense was just rolling on those first 4 possessions.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job of kind of coming out, and Mark has been leading us. He's playing awesome. He's definitely, putting us in some great positions. And those receivers made a bunch of big plays. We had 5 passing touchdowns in the first half, so it's kind of like, I think we've been the type of offense that kind of takes what teams give us. And they gave us that, so we were able to take advantage of it, But I don't know what the history books say, but I don't think it'll say 5 first half passing touchdowns, So, got to find that out. But, I think those guys played well. And like I said, they were having fun and they were excited. Mark was the catalyst of that.
And despite him throwing 4 touchdowns in the first half, for some reason, Mark was not named quarterback of the week. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but Reginald Vick was. Reginald Vick Jr., 3 touchdown receptions in the game in his 4 catches. RJ threw the third in the first half. He saw some action in the game Saturday. How do you think he looked? He's still trying to get back into the flow of things offensively.
Yeah, I mean, he can get it done. He came in one play, first one, threw it right to RJ, made a big-time completion. He ran and got us some hard yards on some short down type of situations and just moved the offense. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown in the game. Mark had 4 passing touchdowns, a couple big runs in the game. So, we had a lot of good quarterback play this past weekend.
We got to talk about Jada. Again, he wasn't mentioned in the superlatives in the CIAA. All he did was run for another 215 yards. Now we're talking about records being broken. He's got a chance to break 2 school records this weekend. He is 19 yards shy of breaking Andre Braxton's record, Coach Parker's teammate back in the late 90s. He's 19 yards shy of breaking that record. He's 2 touchdowns from tying the record of most career rushing touchdowns. He's 3 away from breaking it. He can break both on the road Saturday. We've said a lot about Jade over these 4 years, but getting close to making some history for Saturday up at Bowie.
Anytime you can just even be in position to put yourself in the record books at here at Virginia Union, especially in a category like, rushing and touchdowns and things like that, where, would have been so many great backs that have come through here.
Yeah.
Everybody
Running
kind
back
of
youth, what you call it, right?
running back youth. And the way Coach Bailey did things and ran the football and, had a lot of guys that names you'll kind of see in that record book, so to even be mentioned in that category is something special. And he has the opportunity to put himself at the top. And, again, I'm glad he's on our team. That's all I can really say. But it's gonna be something that's gonna live with him forever. And like I said, I watched Braxton's record, and I said, you know what? At that time, I said nobody's gonna break that.
I was gonna ask you that. Did you ever think that was gonna be?
Never thought it was gonna happen. And then I look up, like I say, and it's gonna happen.
3 games, he's got to break. He's got to get 19 yards in 3 games. I think that's gonna happen. So Braxton's record, at least for that, is gonna be gone. You mentioned taking advantage of what Lincoln gave you guys offensively. You mentioned the great play of Wright and also RJ, but the running game, multiple guys get into the mix. You ran for 409 against Lincoln, and collectively you had 646 yards of offense, almost 11 yards per play. That's incredible that every time you touched the ball offensively, you were getting a first down on their defense.
Yeah, when you look at it like that, that is pretty pretty good. And just kind of hats off to the offense and the whole offensive staff. That was our third 600-plus yard outing of the season.
Yeah,
That's
scary.
And that right there just, like I said, speaks to the depth. It speaks to the coaching. It speaks to the players' ability to take the coaching. That you can put something like that together. So like I said, everybody plays extremely well when they get their opportunity. And when those guys get opportunities, some guys don't get as many as others. So when they get a chance to get an opportunity, they take advantage of it. Whether it's an up front guy, whether it's a skill guy, and even like you mentioned a little earlier, whether it's a quarterback, those guys are taking advantage of all the opportunities.
And I got to commend you guys because you would think in a situation, we're talking about quarterbacks when RJ starts, he gets hurt. Mark comes in, plays great. He's 4-1 as a starting quarterback, hasn't thrown an interception in his 5 starts. You wonder if there's going to be a division amongst that room because RJ feels like he's worthy of getting it. But Mark is playing well where it's hard to take him from that spot. And you guys, it seems like there is no division. There's no separation amongst the guys. They're playing for each other. And when both are playing, both are effective.
Yeah, you're right. And like I say, they both, I think they put us in such a great position just to have 2 talented quarterbacks who you can win with. Both of those guys have won games for us, and both of those guys have put the offense in position that we've had the success we've had. So like I mentioned, just those 600-yard games alone, 3 of them, both of them guys started in one of those games. So just to kind of have the flexibility to kind of do that, and a bunch of guys to hand it to, and a bunch of guys to throw it to, makes us a pretty tough offense.
It's hard for a defensive coordinator to kind of say, what do I take away? Do I take away Jada and dare Mark to throw it? Or do you take away the receivers and say, okay, we're going to still try to stop Jada? It's hard to do. And for the most part, Virginia Union successful. They're 4-0 in the CIAA, tied with Smith for first in the CIAA. We're going to talk to Coach in our final segment. But when we come back, we're going to have our Coach's Corner segment. We're going to talk to the 2 line coaches here at Virginia Union, get their thoughts about how the season has gone on their sides of the ball, and we'll have that when we come back on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.
In this space, we explore, we ascend, we conquer, we innovate, we unite, we thrive. Virginia Union University, where every journey matters.
All right, we're back here in our Coach's Corner segment of the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. Yeah, we'll talk to Coach Parker in a minute, but we're going to talk to the 2 line coaches that have really done an outstanding job this year in putting Virginia Union in positions to be successful en route to a 4-game winning streak. I have the offensive line coach, Ryan Fink, and I have the defensive line coach, Solomon Brown, both very successful this season here at Virginia Union. Guys, welcome to the show. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having us.
We had the veteran. He's been here. He was here a couple of times last year. So you get to relax a little bit. Just,
Let them do all the talking.
You're going to do some talking. But we want to welcome Coach Fink to the show for the first time, first year as O-line coach at Virginia Union. I was told the story you came down from Alabama.
Yep. I spent
Coach with Saban?
Yeah, the last 2 seasons I was at the University of Alabama.
So tell me about the correlation coming here from Alabama.
So, I mean, like, coaching the O-line's coaching the O-line, wherever you're at. There's, I still work with, a very hungry group, a group that wants to get better. And that's really, like, the main thing is just coaching these guys, coaching up front. And then as far as, like, the programs itself goes, like, Coach Parker and Coach Saban do things a little differently. And it's awesome to, work for Coach Parker. He gives us, like, lets us do our job. We're working efficiently, and then you can also have a little bit of free time. Didn't get that often with Coach Saban.
I was gonna say that's a rare thing to get free time.
Yeah, there's no golfing on Fridays in Tuscaloosa.
No question about that. But I want to get your guys' assessment of your lines. We'll start with the D line. We've talked so much about the offense and a great job they've done, but the defense has been really, really good, and it's gonna start with Isaac. On that D line, a guy that probably is going to get all conference again this year in the CIAA.
Yes, Isaac is one of those guys that, he stay home, and the rest of the guys feed off of him, and he's not the type to take all the glory, in meeting rooms, he's just like having another coach in the room. And after that loss to Justin C. Smith, they was on the bus talking about, coach, we ready, we hungry. And, just having that leadership in the room, it just make my job a little easier.
How are the practices against one another? How are those practices with the O-line and D-line? I mean, I know there's some stories between you guys.
So every Tuesday, the first thing we do to start individual is it's O-line, D-line, run game pods. And we just go at it. We probably get about 50 reps in about 7-8 minutes, and then we get the day going from there. So the smack talk starts early between me and Coach Brown.
For real, yes. And it leads to a great practice. It leads to a great week, and just having great guys on the offense and D line, and it just make everything go smoother.
Mm-hmm. How does going up against his O line and seeing Jada every day make your D line better? And then I'll flip it with how does going up against that D line every day makes your O-line and blocking and everything like that better?
It teaches our guys on, the correct way to tackle. Tackling Jada, is a task in itself. Mm-hmm. And, you just got to, technique, keys, and just run fits.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just getting my hands on and driving my knees vertical. And, Coach Brown's D-line does a great job reading their keys, getting their hands on, shedding blocks. It's really great for me to get those full speed reps, every day versus his D line because, they're firing off the ball. They're going to strike and match their keys and all that kind of stuff. And it's been really good for us as an O-line developing throughout this year.
Do you guys make the practices so hard to the point that when Saturday comes, then it's almost like we got all the answers? It's just going to make the game a little bit easier.
That's the way we want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
When the game time come, it just should be easy for them. And, just being in the same room with Coach Fink and just, brainstorming, we want practice to be hard, and the guys want it to be hard as well.
Yeah, I mean, just echoing that, I mean, we want practices to be high intensity where it is frantic, or not frantic, but, up tempo. It is a little, like we do create chaos within our groups. And then on Saturday, we're pretty calm. We're relatively calm. And because that's at that point, you've put so much work in to get to Saturday. You get to play free. You get to play relaxed and just go get after it because you've seen all the looks that, a team can give us.
Now, we talked in our first segment about Jada being 19 yards away from breaking the career rushing record here at Virginia Union, and he's 3 touchdowns away from breaking the career rushing record. As the O-line coach, what is it like blocking for a running back like Jada?
It's fun seeing him get past the line of scrimmage. Simple as that. Jada's a guy that, if we do not get the greatest amount of movement, Jada is going to make us right. Mm-hmm. And he is something special back there. And Coach Ryland does a great job with all the running backs. But Jada's got a little bit of spark to him that you just don't have everywhere. Mm-hmm. And it is really exciting to block for him. And I preach to my guys all the time. It's shared success when you play on the offensive line. And Jada's rushing yards are, it's from you guys. Like that's part of your guys' success is doing that, and also keeping Mark clean and Chop clean in the backfield.
Absolutely. A couple of guys I think made offensive lineman of the week for the CIAA this year for your offensive line. So that's always great. We talked about Isaac on the D line, and we focused so much on what he has done on that side of the ball. But there's some other guys that have really played well for you on that D line.
Yeah, we out of the 18, 19 guys we have in the D line, I have rotated at least 14 guys.
Wow.
You know, and with that depth, you know, it just adds value to the room. And you know, like I said, Isaac is another coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he come off the field, he let us know, hey, we getting this. This is how you can attack it. So you can just pick any one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, any one of those guys, and I'm just proud to be their coach. You know, like I said, they make my job easy.
Where does the depth come from? Is it based? I mean, I'm just go ahead. I was going to say just putting the Virginia Union brand out there for what you guys have done in recent years. Is it more so people are now coming to you and saying, "Hey, we want to be a part of this great defensive line that has been built the last couple of years"?
Yes. If you look at our roster, you know, we do a good job of recruiting, and you from top to bottom, you'll see guys from Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and you know, even from another country.
Mm-hmm.
And so the brand is out there. You know, play for 11. You can see it. You know, I'm from Mississippi. And my mom, that's all she talk about is play for 11. Mm-hmm. She don't know what it means. I you know, have to keep reminding her, but you know, she'll get it.
But long as she know,
yes,
the brand is
the
out
brand
there.
is out there.
You mentioned other countries. You have an offensive lineman that has done really well, coming from. Let me get it. Was it Denmark? Denmark. I was close. We talked about his story coming from there here, but when you first met him, like what was that like, and kind of molding him and meshing him into what was already here at Virginia Union?
Well, coming in here, like he was actually the first person Coach Ryland introduced me to when I pulled up on campus. And, you know, when you meet Matthias, you just meet an intense person who just loves football. And, you know, that kind of echoes throughout the room. And it's just, you know, he's a guy that those guys follow. He's a guy that, you know, those guys want to follow, like his hard work ethic and everything like that, and his intensity, his passion for the game is kind of unmatched up front. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, a testament to his leadership and everything like that.
Well, guys, I wish you the best of luck, continued success on both lines this year. We wish you much good luck as you guys try to continue this winning streak against Bowie State on Saturday.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having us.
Thanks a lot. One more segment to come here on our Alvin Parker Coaches Show. We'll bring the coach back, and we'll talk more about Bowie State trying to go for 5 straight wins in conference play. That's next on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.
Pastors Fred and Inger Wide here, Speaking Spirit Ministries, and we're so happy to say that we are proud sponsors of Virginia Union football and basketball.
And we want to invite you out to visit us on Sundays at 8:30 a.m. at our Henrico location and 10:30 a.m. at our Chesterfield and our Glen Allen location. And we have an East End location coming very soon, and we can't wait to see you there.
Virginia Union, go have a great year, win big, and we want to see all of you out on a Sunday. Let's go Panthers. Speaking Spirit Ministries is behind you.
Back for our final segment on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. Big thanks to Coach Fink and also Coach Brown for joining us in our Coaches Corner segment. We got Coach Parker back for our final segment to talk more about Bowie State. Another great rivalry in the CIAA in the old East-North division, whatever you wanted to call it. Back in the day, remember, no divisions this year. Bowie's coming off their first conference win last Saturday against Bluefield State. It was their homecoming, won convincingly 54-0 to snap a 3-game losing streak. When you go back and look at tape from a game that's that decisive, do you look more about what they did against Bluefield State or what you did in your last game and things you need to like tinker with to be better effective against a team like Bowie?
I think you got to do both. You know, it's important to do both. You know, I think we took the whole body of work that they've done for the season, and they played one of the best schedules in the league in terms of just the toughness of it. So you look at all of that, you know, I think, but again, when you get to this point in October, you want to just make sure, and I'll say this week in and week out, you want to just make sure you're your best self. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that means you got to, you know, make sure you're doing things right and you're doing things to keep you on the path to success. You know, and I think we've been able to do both. You know, pretty daggone good. You know, in terms of preparing the guys for what's next. But you know, sometimes when you get to a Bowie and a Virginia Union type of game, it's all of those other things can matter, but it's always going to be a tough out. And I'm expecting nothing less on Saturday.
Now, last year's outing with Bowie was arguably, and if not the largest margin of victory for Virginia Union against the Bulldogs. It was 52-3 at Hovey Stadium. The Panthers held Bowie to 138 yards of total offense. They were scoreless in the second half. So I go back kind of to that question. Do you look at that game at all, or do you even go back to the one we were talking about before we came on 2 years ago? You go there, goes overtime. Brady hits that game winner, the walk-off or the kickoff, and you guys go on the road and beat Bowie up there.
Yeah, I think it's tough to either look at either one of them, kind of, because I think they're a different team. They have a few new coaches, and Coach Jackson has got them guys going in the right direction. And we know he's a great coach, and we just got to be prepared. And like I say that every week, because it's our job. The things that we can control is how we prepare our guys, how our guys take the preparation and kind of lead up into the game. So those type of things that, kind of on the top of my list. Even when I look at the other opponent, it's tough not to look at what they do well and what they don't do well or anything like that any ways that you might scout them. But I think the most important thing is making sure with the things you do well.
Right.
So we're looking at that. But, again, they have a lot of great players on both sides of the ball. And I say it all the time. I say, at the end of the day, they're still Bowie State. So, we got to make sure them chin straps buckled up and the mouthpieces in and ready to play.
Well, let's talk about some of the players. We'll start with their quarterback, Kevin Taylor. He was the quarterback of the week in the CIAA, threw for 189 yards and 3 touchdowns, led them to 511 yards of offense against Bluefield last week.
Yeah, he's a young guy back there. I think he does a great job of kind of controlling the offense. He's a longer guy. When I peeped at him, you kind of cut the film on. It's hard not to see Amir Hall. Just size wise and arm talent and things like that. So I'm like, oh, here we go with another one of these.
You don't want to see Amir Hall,
but he's definitely a good player.
Okay, Amir Hall, blast from the past, was one of the best they had in quite some time up there. Michael Robinson has been a back that's been effective for Bowie this year. Offensive back of the week, he had nearly 150 yards of all-purpose against Bowie. Who does he kind of mirror when you see him on tape?
He can get downhill and he can also fly. So I think he does both well. And also he's able to catch it out the backfield pretty good. So I think he's a pretty complete back.
The defense for Bowie held the Big Blue, as they call them, Bluefield State, 1 of 12 on third downs. That's always a big stat that you always look at, Coach, and held them to 58 yards of offense for the game, negative 15 on the ground. But they're going up against the number 1 rush offense in the CIAA. So it's going to be a battle of will as to which line is going to have their way in this game on Saturday.
Again, we know they're pretty good up front. On both sides of the ball. So just got to put some stuff together that we know our guys like doing and what they can do, and head up to PG County and be ready to play some ball.
Bulldog Stadium. We getting close. We're almost at the end of the month. We got 3 games left. How is it hard to keep these guys? Every game is a 1-game season. It's like the 1-game Super Bowl. You don't want them to look too far ahead because you got Bluefield and Virginia State left on the schedule. Has it been challenging to keep these guys focused on a 1-game season each week?
It hasn't been, Sean. It hasn't been. I think, anytime you kind of see how our program works, and you show up on, say, a Tuesday morning, and you see how we're working on a Tuesday morning, and you come Tuesday afternoon and see what practice is like, and then you see the focus that those guys have in the meeting. And those type of things like that, that lets me know that we're doing things and those guys are focused. And you flip the page and you turn to the next day, Wednesday, and you see the focus of Wednesday, getting up at those practices in the morning. And like I say, and if people come see us practice and see how we work and see the things that we get accomplished at practice and, how hard the coaches are coaching and how hard the players are playing and practicing and things like that, people will say, you know what, they're kind of on the right path. They're taking this thing one game at a time.
And it's even, I mean, we've talked before, it even goes to like right after the game when you guys, especially on a road game, you guys get on the bus, you got guys looking at tape from just a couple of hours ago, and you kind of like dissecting the tape as you come back to Richmond after a game.
I tell those guys all the time, I say, man, it's a victory. You get 8 hours to enjoy it. You get 8 hours to enjoy a victory. However you want to spend your 8 hours is how you spend your 8 hours. But like you said, we do got some guys that are just, junkies like that just love the game. And sometimes they use their 8 hours on, football stuff. But, again, we want those guys to enjoy it because, again, when you look at it and you go a whole week and you practice and you prepare, you're able to get a victory. That's kind of what it's all about, So I say this all the time. People don't know how hard it is to win one college football game. It's a hard thing. You build up all the way through the week to get it done, and then you get it done. I give those guys an opportunity to enjoy it
and just continue to set that standard, continue that standard that you guys have built the last few years. We talked to Coach Brown was mentioning about the standard and not the standard, but the brand and. Having his grandma saying play for 11, even though she may not know what it meant, but just continue to keep that standard high week after week when everybody's going to bring their best game against you.
Oh, the standard is the standard. I think that's a Mike Tomlin line, but the standard is the standard. And, I think nobody expects anything different around here. The players, staff, support staff, admin, everybody, everybody kind of know what it is. Like I say, when you show up around, what the Sunday is, the Monday is, the Tuesday is. Coach Parker might get a little cranky on Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday. It's just, everybody kind of know what it is because they know what the work is. Know what the work is. So it's just a matter of just kind of just getting it done and getting to Saturday and being able to perform.
And we'll see if the work pays off Saturday. Again, Virginia Union, Bowie State, kickoff is at 1. Catch it on the CIAA network if you can't make the trip to Bulldog Stadium, and join us back here next Thursday night. We'll recap Bowie State and Virginia Union and look ahead, home finale. It'll be senior day. It'll be homecoming. What do you say? Military Appreciation Day.
Bunch of stuff.
All of that next Saturday at Hovey Stadium when Virginia Union plays Bluefield State. We'll talk about that on our next edition of the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. For the coach and for the offensive and defensive line coaches, Coach Fink and also Coach Brown, I'm Sean Robertson. Join us again next Thursday night as we talk with head coach Alvin Parker on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.